So this really comes out of a movement. And the movement, and I won't say that it started with Maker Faire, but it is really like sort of exemplified by Maker Faire. Maker Faire is an event that takes place in the spring on the West Coast, and it takes place all over the world now. But it's like pretty much citizen science. It's the science fair of modern times. But it's not just science. It's people who are making things, people who are building things. It's artists and craftsmen, as well as tinkerers and hackers. People who are interested in taking something that they have, something that they own, and modifying it. Maker Faire came out of Make Magazine, which has been around for a few years, and talks really about projects. But what's really essentially important here is it gives you the instructions on how to execute these projects. And some of the projects are about hacking or about like taking apart something that you already own, but some of the other projects are really about constructing or building something new. Now this, like I said, this is part of a movement. So there is like sort of this larger structure where it stretches out into these ideas of taking and bringing together a group of people who are interested in essentially the same thing and having them work on something. So these hack days have sort of come out of nowhere. And one that I recently attended was Science Hack Day, and it brought together all sorts of scientists from different disciplines, astronomy and biology, and computer science, artificial intelligence research, and put them into the room and encouraged them to sort of like connect with people who are building things, and to come up with these quick little projects and spend 48 hours like basically hacking them out, finding a way to execute them within the system. A similar thing has happened sort of with respect to these large technical conferences. Tim O'Reilly of O'Reilly Publishing has this session he calls FOO, F-O-O, Friends of O'Reilly, where he invites people to come and spend time in his, on his lawn, essentially, set up tents. And these are just like invitation only. These are really important people who have very interesting things to say. But it's something that's closed. It would be brilliant to be there. In response to FOO Camp has come up something called Bar Camp. Now, Bar Camp is run in many cities all over the country, all over the world, and lets people sort of nominate themselves for it, to like just sort of show up and talk about what they're interested in. So FOO Camp is the more organized, the more rigid, the more invitational. Bar Camp is the response to that, to let anyone come in. A similar thing has happened to TED, which is the Conference on Technology, Entertainment, and Design. It costs $6,000 to go, and you have to be invited very specifically. So in response to that, a conference called BILL, or a series of conferences called BILL, were invented. And these really are about anybody can attend, again. The commonality between these, sort of, the thing that sort of holds them together and makes them similar, is the idea of an unconference. So instead of taking and looking at a very rigid structure, like in a conference where people are like hired or very specifically selected to deliver presentations with, in a specific setting, an unconference brings people together and lets them decide what expertise is there and what they want to talk about. So it can respond very quickly to something that's going on in the news, or it can respond to the fact that there are 5 people at this conference and they're all working on the same thing. Along those lines, and along the lines of sort of like breaking it down, is the idea of like a hack-a-day, which looks at primarily at hardware, but and electronics, but it takes and gives you a recipe that you could follow every day of the year, and sort of continuously. But it really shows you how to like sort of piece this together, how to be the inventor or the assembler. Now, along these lines, there was a recent lawsuit where the judge declared that it is legal to jailbreak the Apple iPhone. Now, Apple typically wants to have a lot of control over this as a platform because they want to control the experience. But the judge's ruling was basically, if you own it, you have certain amount of control that you're allowed to exert over the device. And we see something very similar that started to take place with Microsoft's Kinect, which is a new controller that can use video and 3D to see in a room. When it was originally released, the corporation's immediate response was that you're not supposed to hack it. But what they've realized is that they have this beautiful, big sort of audience that really wants to get in and work with the hardware. So the public is now able to take and use these free device drivers to create projects with it. The last thing I want to talk about is a neat little project called TV Be Gone. And essentially what it is it is a remote control that you can build that can turn off televisions. And it's meant to sort of be a response to the sort of ubiquitousness of television in public spaces.